Unmute. Yo, 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 yo. What is good, people? We're back in the building, in the studio, and you know what time it is. The matches in the EPL are done for the week. So we're here for the weekend review show, people. So we have all 10 games done, but you know, we are on YouTube, people. So on YouTube, there's a few things you have to do to help to support the channel. You have to make sure to locate the thumbs up button wherever it might be on your device, whatever you're watching on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your TV, whatever you're watching it on your desktop, anywhere you're watching it. Please make sure to locate the like button and smash it. Zine, that's what you have to do to help. Definitely share as well. Share the content around. I know all of you in various football groups and various this and that and that and all these little networks you're in. Share the content around. Let more people know about it. We have people joining each and every week or ask them how them find out. It's always a different story. So big up, big up, big up, big up. Jason, don't worry. I tune in the show every week, but I'm not making any predictions until that City game in the Prem. All right, big up yourself, Skull. Bless up though. Keep up this. This is good content. Yeah, man. Respect Red Skull. Me know say the ones and ones, Arsenal fans that are true Arsenal fans right now, them not really, it's a different type of feeling right now. We just have I try hold it. So I understand, I overstand Skull. You want to get to that day there and see what go on. We have two big games this week, Skull. Tomorrow and the Carabao Cup, because trust me, you see the Carabao Cup final there? I think psychologically it will make a big difference. Obviously, we have a nice lead in the Prem right now. It will look good going into the international break, 10 points for sure. But or 9 points, sorry. But even with that, I just feel like going into that international break, if we can actually lift a trophy, trust me, what it's gonna do to the feeling in the club. And obviously, tomorrow we need to win and get to Champions League as well. That would be pretty much shocking if we were to go out to Bayer Leverkusen at home tomorrow. So we can't really have that derail the season right now either. So yeah, man, we need another feel good moment tomorrow, even if it's not as spectacular as what happened this weekend with all the last minute and all of this. We just need to make sure we win and get through tomorrow. So that's the first step in the last two steps for the Gunners till the international window. But enough for the Gunners for now. We're gonna get to the Gunners this week for sure. But we definitely need to get into a ritual that we always have on the review show. So if your side that you support happen to get 3 points this week, I want you to drop 3 in the comment section right now. Put as many threes as you want. I'm gonna put about that many. Yeah, man, threes out on the board for those of you whose club got 3 points this weekend. I'm actually watching JPL as well right now. They have whittled it down to 1 game a week for those overseas that want to watch the JPL. So because I only get one, I try to watch them each week. Tonight it is what? Arnett Gardens versus Racing, and Racing is high up there in the table right now. Arnett kind of struggling for what they normally do in the JPL. But tonight you wouldn't know because Arnett has them under 3-0. Hat trick from Jamaica U20 representative Giovanni Taylor as well. A player that if you've watched me watching that team play the U20 first round, I had a lot of disparaging comments towards Giovanni Taylor. So it's always good when players can prove you wrong. And tonight he has been very, very efficient in front of goal. And one thing that I must give him credit for is he seems to always get into positions to score goals, which that in itself is a talent. So I think he has decent instincts in terms of his movement in and around the box. Even tonight, he has scored like, a couple of opportunities where he just was in the right place and then was able to finish it off when it came to him. So I forgive him. Chile draw and been missing since when? Yeah. Hey, maybe Chile feel the same way as you, Skull. Maybe him just not do no predictions until, until them time there. Yes, sir. All right. So let's get the convo going on these football matches. It was a high foot. It was an excellent week in the Premier League. A lot of good storylines this week, and the games were tight. You know, there weren't many high scoring games. I think only one team had 3 goals this weekend. That was Manchester United in a match. Um, and only 2 matches had more than 3 goals scored in it. So it was a cagey weekend of football. And we're gonna talk about it now. Yeah, man, tell them to like up the live, which is right, Red Skull. Big up yourself as usual. In the building, showing the support. So I go get into the game them. And of course, you know, it's an interactive show, people. So even though you're not on a panel or anything like that, please make sure to put your thoughts in the comment section. I'm sure I also have a poll running tonight. You know, what was your match of the weekend? Sometimes it might just be based on which team you support, but sometimes if you have watched more than one game, you might have another game that was just a better game, right? So I actually voted this week, and I did not even pick Arsenal for my vote. So um, he actually went with the Man U game, you know, just as a game that I watched. You know, the Everton game was the storyline was incredible as an Arsenal fan, right? But in terms of the overall game, even though the Everton game was good, because Everton did play really well in the first half. So maybe I'm just basing it off like Arsenal never played nothing in the first half for me, besides like a little small spell. But anyway, as I said, I'll go through the show. We're not gonna rush the thing. First game we're gonna talk about is Burnley and Bournemouth. So this game would have been one of the first kickoffs on Saturday morning. Um, this time thing I throw me off because the games them coming on later. So like even tomorrow now, Arsenal now play till 4 o'clock, which is just feel like late, you know, for me. So it will be a little bit weird. But yeah, as soon as I get used to it now, I think England move forward Sunday again with film time. So it will be on the same time then I believe. But yeah, people, we're gonna look into the first matchup of the weekend. It's Bournemouth and Burnley. Burnley at Turf Moor was hosting. And this game, really and truly, both teams I thought played some decent football from the extended highlights that I watched, because I didn't watch all of this game. Um, but I think when you really look at it, both teams I thought had good enough chances to where one of them could have taken all 3 points. But you know, in the end, you know, you'd probably have to say that Bournemouth probably was the more deserving winners. But I thought Burnley did enough in the game to at least get a goal as well. But some good goalkeeping, some good defending, and some shoddy finishing as well would have led to this 0-0. But you see the stats on the screen here, Bournemouth having the edge in percentage of possession, 62 to 38. You see the expected goals, Bournemouth, the more likely winner based on expected goals, 2.55 to 1.4. So both teams did create in this game 3 big chances apiece for each team. Bournemouth had the shot advantage, 22 to 15. You see 2 saves made by both goalkeepers. You see the passing stats. Obviously, the team with more possession would have the more passes. That makes perfect sense. Um, you see the shots on target though, and that's just an indictment on both teams when you look at it. You know, all those shots between them and only 5 on target. You know, 37 shots between the two teams and 5 on target. So you see what the issue was in this game. Both teams did hit the woodwork once, right? Then you see the heat map of the game, you know, very evenly distributed, most of it in the midfield, and each third getting almost the same amount of time. Um, you see the touches in the box, final third entries. That should show you again how even this one was, 56 to 56, like literally even. You see the tackles won, both goalkeepers in a positive for goals prevented. So yep, 2 big saves as well for Petrovic. And Petrovic has been in much better form of late, since Bournemouth has been getting more positive results lately. Um, you see, but I can't turn these points into 3 points, but they're not losing games, so they're up into the top 10 again. And as you can see, Alex Scott was deemed to be the player of the match by SofaScore. He got an 8.6 rating, and he's one that, when you look at that England midfield, I feel like there's a spot there in that deeper line player that Tuchel probably is still looking at some players. I think Alex Scott, one of the ones that definitely he'd be looking at. The last time England had a call up for their national team, I'm almost certain, let me double check. Yeah, I'm almost certain that Alex Scott got a chance, but let me see. Yep, Albania, England, he didn't play, but he was in the last squad. So, I know he's kind of at least in the coach's thoughts. So we'll see coming up here if he gets into the team again. But this will not do him any harm, this last performance. And his performances have been consistent. Look at that, 7.1, 6.9, 7.0, 7.0, 6.7, 7.4, 7.7. He's really and truly been putting in some good numbers. So putting his name in the hat, 22 years of age, has a bright future ahead of him at least, but the future might be now for him. Another player that I think has been consistently good and is an underrated player is Marcus Tavernier. He's a little bit older, 26 years of age, but I don't believe he's ever gotten a call up for England. Um, heard some rumors that he could maybe be able to represent Jamaica, but was not able to confirm that. Um, but yeah, I don't know if Tavernier will get a chance though. His area of the field, I think, is a bit more stacked. It's gonna be tough for somebody like him. But Alex Scott, yeah, maybe he might get a look in. And Burnley really, you know, definitely in the danger zone right now. They'll need to start to get wins. The point could help in the long run, but they can't have many more days of just getting a point. This week was one of the most difficult weeks for picks for everybody that played. Almost everybody was, less than like a losing record. Nobody. But the winner for this week was a winning record. So when we have the reveal later, it's gonna be some really ugly score lines here. And luckily, I know how to pick my team, or else I would be holding another donkey of the week. But luckily, why they change the time zone? Okay, so they do something in the US and England called daylight savings time. And I think the idea behind it, Red Skull, was like them say people are more productive during the day, like in the sunlight hours. So they wanted to increase productivity through the summer. So they move time forward so you get more sunlight during the day. Now, others have argued that they do that for like outdoor activities. If you play sports, you can start the game a little later, play the full game, and you don't have to turn on the lights because you have more light. But I think it had something to do when they brought it into effect with productivity and thinking that people are going to be more productive if you have an hour extra sunlight outside. Mm. So that's what I know of the whole time zone thing. At least so I've read. Yeah. But England does not move forward to daylight savings at the same time as the USA. So for the last couple of weeks, USA has already gone forward an hour, but England has not. So I think Sunday is when England move forward as well. So it will be back on the 5 hour time difference as opposed to 4 hours from me to them. Jamaica right now is what, 5 hours. And then when they move forward again, there'll be 6 hours. Yeah. we'll be 5. Yeah, so Burnley, Jaden Anthony tried. The midfield didn't play terribly, but Burnley just could not convert their chances on the day, and neither could Bournemouth for that matter. But let me see, there was a chance. Yeah, Fleming had a good chance here from a corner, and Anthony hit the post after a corner, and Fleming again missed a header. So, you get two headed chances from Fleming, who is really deadly with his head, and you can't convert. It's really not your day. And then look at all these shots now yeah, this was a very good chance. Maybe it came too early, but he just didn't get enough purchase on it, did Evan Nielsen. Should have done way better there. Krupi had another decent chance, but blocked. Evan Nielsen again, just missing the goal this time completely, but should have done way better. And then Hill had the header that he should have put closer. Under a lot of pressure, though, to be fair. And Unal probably missed the easiest chance. So Bournemouth had some chances near the end that they definitely should have done better with. Um, but Burnley, they held firm and they got a point. Like I said, I don't think that point will be enough for them, to be honest, because they just need more than those points right now than what they got in this game. But until they're mathematically out of it, I know they won't give up. And why would you? They might as well go for it. But let's see, moving forward, can Burnley get 3 points a couple of times and just maybe raise the hope? But right now, you'd have to say they are definitely one of two favorites to be sure to go down this season, the other one being Wolves. So Bournemouth into the top 10, probably been too inconsistent at part of the season to get into that Europe conversation still, but stranger things have happened. If they go on a run of 4 victories in a row, let's say after this, maybe they find their way back into that convo. But for now, I think they're on the outside looking in for sure. Quite a few teams that have to get over at this point to get into those top European places. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Bournemouth Burnley game. Like I said, a 0-0 game, but definitely more than enough action around the goals. Could have easily had some goals in this game. And I think Bournemouth will look back at this one as 2 points dropped, to be honest. Moving right along to the next game of the week, and that was Sunderland versus Brighton. Now, Sunderland-Brighton, this game, another game that a lot of fans thinking that the match would draw, and some thinking that Sunderland are going to win the game. Had just a few that went with a win for Brighton in this one, but in the end, Brighton did get the result 52 to 48 possessions. So it was very even there. Only one big chance conceded by either team, and that was a big chance falling to Brighton. Sunderland had 2 more shots. Both keepers made 3 saves. You see the passing very close there, 471 and 422. A lot more tackles for Brighton on the day. Both teams had 4 shots on target though. And the one big chance that Brighton got, they did miss. You see the heat map there. Brighton with the ball more in their defensive third, but the bulk of the play in the middle third there. The final third entries edged towards Sunderland 66 to 54. You see the pass in the final third. Both teams a bit disappointing with the percentage there. And you see both goalkeepers in the positive for goals prevented. 2 big saves made by the Dutch first choice goalkeeper. Verbruggen. So I think when you look at this game here, Sunderland definitely have a much better idea of keeping the football and dictating the tempo of play when Xhaka is back in the team, and he was for this game had his usual solid game. Um, I think that the back line did get disrupted a bit when Ballard had to come off in the second half, but credit to the substitute he came on, and to be fair, didn't have as much to do as Ballard because I think once Brighton got the goal and Sunderland were going for that equalizer, Brighton definitely changed their, they got into a much more defensive posture, let's just call it. I don't think that the substitute only 09 had the chance to, really impose himself as a defender. But I just think um, Ballard has been pretty solid all season. So, hopefully that don't upset the team too much moving forward. But Sunderland, like I say, it's night and day. When Xhaka doesn't play, they don't really dictate the game as much. But you can see that his presence was felt in this one because Sunderland did have a very good hold on the midfield for most of the game. Um, Brighton, on the other hand, I think, they just had some good moments in the game where they created, and it was a bit of a freak goal, to be honest. Minte after a set piece. I think he was trying to cross the ball, and just the contact he got and the spin on the ball, he was able to kind of curl in. It looked as if it might have been a handball on John Paul van Heck, but on the replay, you could see that it didn't even touch him at all. He just got out of the way. So kind of a freakish goal by Minte, but they all count just the same. And this one proved to be a crucial one because it was enough to get the 3 points. You see, the back line and the goalkeeper and the pivot in midfield did really well for Brighton in this game. And I think the collective, even though Xhaka was trying and Sadiki, the collective of Brighton just did better than the collective of Sunderland if you just looked at the overall way they played the game. Good goalkeeping from both goalkeepers, it must be said. They had a couple of really good saves, and Brighton just got the better of Sunderland in this one, 1-0, and that was all they needed to get the result. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Brighton and Sunderland game. Sunderland, a few weeks back, people were saying, okay, can this Cinderella continue? Will they be able to, get into Europe even? At one point, people were saying maybe even the Champions League, but to be honest, they have hit a wall. They haven't been helped by some of the injuries, but I think at this point, it also is just, maybe they have had their really good run and just it's just working out a little bit more closer to reality now what the results are. Um, but who knows? Maybe they can find back what has been missing the last few weeks in this little run towards the end of the season. But I think they should still be proud regardless because they have been, one of the stories of the season, if we're being honest, what they have been able to achieve, taking points off of a lot of big teams, especially at the Stadium of Light. And I think the next progression for them, if they stay up, which is looking like they more than likely will for sure, will be able to have their game translate to away from home as well. Because I think that's where it has gotten a bit tough for them. They haven't been able to get any consistency away from home in terms of the results. And if it wasn't for their form on the Stadium of Light, maybe they would be in a more precarious position right now. So Sunderland, Brighton, that's it. It was 1-0 to Brighton, big win for them. Herzl have been taking some hits in the press of late. So, they turned up and they got the job done. 1-0. Now, the next game, people, is the current league leaders, Arsenal. They hosted Everton at the Emirates Stadium. And trust me, this game was a tale of two halves. And even part of that second half, it was looking much like the first half as well in the early part. Now, first, we let's look at let's just look at the stats first, overall, the overall data. So 65% possession to Arsenal, 35 to Everton, 2.70 expected goals to 1.05. So that's the first thing that jumps out to me. If you follow this channel, you know each and every game I'm going to show these stats. And very rarely when it's an Arsenal game in the Premier League does a team get over one in expected goals. I think it's probably happened the amount of fingers I have for the entire season. So right away, it jumps out to me that Everton did craft that one barrier and get to 1.05. Both teams did create two big chances. Arsenal had a big shot advantage overall, but the shots on target were just 7-3, 25-9 overall. You see the saves made. Pickford made 4 and Raya made 3. I've heard a lot being said about this game and people saying that, boy, Everton just, Arsenal just got lucky. And, Raya had to be earning all this money and Pickford never do anything until the end of the game. Yeah, that's why I tell people sometimes, put the stats on the screen because I see 4 saves for Everton and 3 saves for Arsenal. So, I guess Pickford did do some other things in the game and have to save some play. I'm just saying. 581 passes to 321. So Arsenal definitely dominating the ball in this one, which David Moyes, to be fair, wouldn't have cared if he had the ball or not, as long as he was posing a threat when they counterattack, which his team was definitely doing that for large parts of the game as well. 7-3 was the shots on target, as I said earlier. They hit the woodwork once. It was a brilliant strike by Dwight McNeil. Ooh, that probably deserved more and better. And even the ricochet off the post fell right back to Iliman India, but it came so fast to him he couldn't sort out his feet. And the ricochet went just wide as well. So definitely luck shine on us on that particular play because that easily could have hit the inside of the bar from our post from Dwight McNeil and go in the goal. But luckily it hit kind of flush and went right back out. 12 shots inside the box, 13 outside. See, most of the game played in Everton's defensive third and the midfield. 20% of the time it was in Arsenal's defensive third. Arsenal did create 2 big chances and score both. On the other side, Everton created 2 big chances and didn't score any. That was the difference in the game. Touches in the box, dominated by Arsenal there. But you see the entries not that far apart. So those 48 entries, it's going to be interesting, right? If you look at the breakdown between halves. So in the first half, 29-26, very even. Second half, 32-22. So, you see the gap widen in that second half. Arsenal played a lot better there. See the passes in the final third, definitely a much lower percentage for Everton. Arsenal all the way up at 84%, and that just comes from sustained possession. Some of those passes in the final third would just be recycling from side to side, switching the flanks as much as possible to try to open up that defense. You see the ground duels and the aerials. So Arsenal did have an advantage there. You see the tackling percentage, total tackles, interceptions, recoveries, clearances. Arsenal did have 1 error leading to a shot, and Everton did have 1 error leading to a goal. We're going to discuss those right now. So Timber had to come off, and the 38th minute he made a challenge on Endai down the right side that looked like he pulled up a bit lame after and tried to continue on, lasted about maybe 10, 15 more minutes, and they had to come off. And the interesting thing is when you look at the bench for the game, we did have Ben White there, but when that first substitution was made, as you can see, it was Christian Mosquera who got the nod. So we'll have to ask ourselves the question, Gunners fans, is Ben White now actually a third option at right back? Has Mosquera passed him there, or do you think it was more precautionary just due to Ben not being around so much of late, Can't believe Slots really give Spurs hope. What fraud. For real. I tell people the only reason Arsenal last league was because of injury. because we only lost 5 games that season. What fraud of managers. Blessings actually what go on. I think Arsenal should sign Minte. Honestly, I rate him. Yeah, Minte is definitely an action pack baller, no question about it. Ooh, off the line. Come back. Racing I try them best to get a goal and can't find one. And let's see it off the line. What a ball. Keeper come out lucky. Congratulations on the title. No goat mouth thing, brother. This game summed up the past week, to be honest. Yeah, so in this first half though, it was definitely some warning signs there for sure. And if we break down like the stats of Everton in the shooting department, the Dwight McNeil shot was blocked. Now this play was ridiculous, right? So I don't know if you guys remember this. I think it was a cross came over to the back post. Calafiori kind of fell after Raya got a little bit of a touch on it. It came to Dwight McNeil, and from the ground, Calafiori like them call it the scorpion block. Man just put up him foot. Now I don't know if Raya would have saved it if him never do that, but we will never know because it was a brilliant block by Calafiori. Oh my gosh, Racing cannot score. And them come so close. Who that headband baller? Miss? Yeah, so Dwight McNeil, this block by Calafiori was mad. You see the XG right there, 0.29. Then this is the one where he hit the post. Had no business scoring from there, 0.02, but it was a perfectly executed shot. So this is all in the same kind of runner play a little bit, right? Then NDI has another one, which, to be fair to NDI, like he doesn't know much about it. So it looks like a really bad miss and a big chance, but it was tough. It was tough, you know. And then Dewsbury Hall took another good shot, top of the box, just a little bit later in the play. And then Gay took a shot right at halftime. Then we come out of the second half. McNeil gets a shot close to the goal, blocked. And then Beto with a good snapshot after a corner. And somehow Raya gets his foot down to prevent it from going in at the near post. Gay took another shot and then Keane. So you can see the difference in the second half. The quality of shot for one and the amount of shots, a lot less. It's the same action basically that this happened. And then only 2 more actions where a shot would have materialized. So Arsenal definitely, changed a lot in that second half in terms of like what Everton was able to do. So kudos to the coach because I think that these changes, Gyökeres for Havertz and Martinelli for Madueke started the change. We saw immediately a bit of a change in the play. And then once he made this sub in the 74th minute for Nkapie for Calafiori and Dauman for Zubimendi, I think this is where the game really and truly changed. Now, when you look at the team, when he made those first set of subs, Madueke and Havertz obviously was off, and a like-for-like sub would have come on, and that's Victor Gyökeres, right? And then Gabriel Martinelli, he would have come on for Madueke. So Madueke, right before he came off, had a run down the right-hand side and immediately looked more dangerous. So, Mr. Arteta, one criticism, Mabala, coach, please don't pigeonhole Noni on the left side anymore. He was literally like a shell of himself for about 46, 47, 48 minutes or so until you kind of gave him a run. For about the last 10 minutes, he was on the pitch on the right, and it looked immediately better, right? So if you want to play both the players, either Bukayo play 10 and you play Noni wide, or one of them off a bench coach. Don't do it no more. It doesn't work. All right. It does not work. Please. Whoever agree with me, just let me know in the comment section. I swear. Do not play Noni on the left. It's like a waste of a player. Bless up float. What go on? Why float rough, bro. It's a rough week. Knowledge nest in a building. Salute, my brother. Fellow Gooner in a building. Big up yourself, you know. Yeah, man. Big up every time, bro. They are break down the league weekend, you know, but we spend a little time on the Arsenal card. You know, we're the league leaders, so you have to talk about it, right? So may I tell the coach, no more Noni on the left, please and thanks. But this sub right here, Max Dauman comes on, people. And let me be honest with you guys. This kid, incredible performance. So you see, he got 16 minutes plus about, I think, another 8 or so minutes for the injury time. So about 24, 25 minutes. And he was able to get a 7.9, had the highest rating on SofaScore for the game. Won the player of the match as well at the stadium. So that's an overall great day for him. You see the dribbling and you see the shooting there. One goal scored, he had a 0.97 expected goals. 0.02 expected assists. This is the stat that I really love. The two key passes in his cameo. Tried across was unsuccessful, but that cross did lead to the goal, which I don't know how that would be deemed unsuccessful, to be honest. But 92% accurate passing, 10 of 11 in the opposition half as well. So it's all attacking plays, and 2 of 2 passes in the own half. Had the one shot on target, which was the goal. Took 2 shots total. Um, had a half chance, like right when he came on and just put it high. And I think that miss probably calmed his nerves a bit. I know that sounds weird, but once that play happened, it just he just started doing his normal gliding up across the field. He had 28 touches, so influential in his cameo as well, getting on the ball a lot. Only one unsuccessful touch, 2 of 4 dribbles, 7 times he lost possession, which a quarter of the time for your attacking player trying to thread that through pass. That's not terrible. Um, Progressive carries 4. That's another thing about this kid. He's gonna carry that football forward. 4 of 8 on his ground duels as well. So he was getting involved. Did get dribbled past that one time. So Max Dauman, they say he's one for the future, but Arteta, he might just be one for the now. The other one that came off the bench and had a good performance, Victor Gyökeres. How many times have we been on this program and you see his heat map, or not his heat map, you see his rating and it's a red background, not even a yellow. So that means he's under 6. But it's good to see 7.5. And don't look now, people, but Victor Gyökeres, who they told me was a big time flop, he is now on 16 goals, 2 assists in all comps, and up to 11 in the Premier League. I remember at one point, people were wondering, would he even hit double digits? Now we can move on from that and say, okay, does he have it in him to hit the 15 mark? I think, I don't know if I ran a poll, but I think we asked the question one time, is it, wow, 4-0? We asked the question one time, is it going to be a 15 to 20, a 10 to 15, a 20 to 25 or 25 plus type of season? And I think most people would have been in the 15 to 25 range. So let's see if he can get that threshold in the league of 15 goals. And then when you look at it, we have an EFL Cup final to play. We're still in the FA Cup. We're still in the Champions League. And obviously we have 9 more games in the Premier League. So he'll have ample opportunity, I think, to get past that 20 mark overall, which I think if you can get 20 goals in all comps first season, not a bad return. But who knows, at 16 with definitely 9 more to play, potentially another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, another 6 Champions League games potentially to play. They're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup now, so 1, 2, 3 more of those. So that's 9 plus the 9. So about 18 potentially more games to play. If he scores 10 more, that's 26 for the season. So, or even 9 more, 25 for the season, all comps. So yeah, look, wasn't the best start to life, but I think right now, everybody can agree that he does have a goal scorer's and a poacher's instinct. And for years we've been crying out for that type of profile player. I think we'll just have to come to grips with, he's limited in build-up phase. He's gonna be a bit limited. That is, there's no going around it. but I think his occupation of space and the threat that he brings to that back line, I think it causes big problems to the opposition. Um, Red Skull said something earlier. Said he's a bit worried about our wingers. Well, Trossard was doubtful, wasn't on the bench at all. So he went with Saka and Madueke, and of course Martinelli came on for Madueke in the 61st. I thought Martinelli was lively in this game. I thought he had a couple of good shots that the keeper had to save. Um, I don't think people notice on Max's goal. He's running with him. I think at first he was thinking, okay, just lay it after me, let me score. But once he realized that Max had beaten the last player on the half line and, had kind of just accelerated a bit, pushed it a bit further in front of him, he then turned his attention to making sure nobody could catch him. So fair play to Martinelli for kind of running and shielding the players so that Dowman could, make sure that nobody not bothering him to take the goal. Earned it is right. Bless up Apache, go on, big up yourself. One Gunners, that is it. Yeah, man, make them know for like and share and subscribe. Looks like almost 20 out of you in the building. Yeah, man, just make sure that the likes button reflects. At the very least, the likes button reflects how many people voted on the poll tonight, right? So, yeah, okay. So at least that ratio is looking good. Remember, I do have a poll running in the comment section. I just have 4 games to select from. Let me know what was your best match of the weekend based on the 4 nominations I would have put up, all right? But Arsenal, again, getting the job done. Left it late, 89th minute. Dowman with a cross. Pickford with a madness after having a good game up to that point. But you see what that mistake did to his overall score of 6.1. But yeah, it was really a big, egregious error and something that, Tuchel will be looking at. I mean, he's been in sparkling form. He's been the goalkeeper that has, done the best for England in terms of getting to finals and whatnot. But and I honestly don't think that any of the other English goalkeepers are really banging down the door to take Pickford's spot. So with all that being said, I don't think that one error will take away the starting place from Pickford, but hopefully for England's sake, when they go to this World Cup, we don't see anything like what we would have seen for the first goal, because that was really a bad error in judgment that had him basically out of the goal and not able to prevent Arsenal's first goal. And of course, the second goal, Dowman running down the pitch, effortlessly, basically, and slapping it home calmly. And then the celebrations, the scenes at the corner flag were mad, So, look, big win. I think when you look at Arsenal recent form, um, they're unbeaten. They have 3 wins on the bounce now. It's been a little while since they have won, 2-3 games in the Prem in a row. So good to see this run going now. Obviously, there's a long break from football for Arsenal and the Prem. But when you look at the upcoming fixtures, Leverkusen, Man City, obviously before the international break, then they go into the window. And then when they return, they'll have a trip to Southampton in the next round of the FA Cup. And then right after that week, I think there might be Champions League going on right here in this week in between. This would be like a quarterfinal first leg, I believe. But I could be wrong on that. But I think I'm actually right. But potentially, if Arsenal get to tomorrow, I think will have a Champions League game drop right here. And then, of course, the second leg would be probably the week after. So yeah, as of right now, obviously there's another FA Cup game if we beat Southampton as well. That would be the semi-final at Wembley. We can get past Southampton. So potentially more games to be added here, but that is that is the stretch run with the Premier League games. Fulham, West Ham, Burnley, and Crystal Palace to end off the season. But their next Premier League game will be at home against Bournemouth. So that will be a good test in that game. All right. So that is the Gunners beating Everton. Crazy scenes. Max Dowman, youngest in charge. Just hope the kid stays grounded. Looks to be a real humble kid though, so let's see. Arteta take off Noni instead of Saka, Jaja, after Saka wasn't doing ish. Yeah, I mean, look, Noni to me on that left side, he might try him best, bro, but it not work. So if he was gonna take off one of them, um, based on what was going on, yeah, I would have said Saka, because Saka ended up playing the full 90 and eventually did slot a bit more central, even though him and Max kind of were interchanging, to be honest. But it was a very attacking lineup when Zubimendi came out, and it was Eze and Saka really playing that central role. Um, no, Eze never come off. No, it was Zubi. Yeah, when Zubi came off. But it's going to be interesting moving forward. I mean, I've already seen news that Timber and Odegaard are out for the Bayer Leverkusen game tomorrow. It's going to be interesting what he ends up going with from the start because, like I said, Mosquera came on in the 30th minute, played the rest of the game, and did play well. But Ben White was waiting in the wings there, didn't get a chance. Is it that Champions League game, we might see Ben White start, or is Ben White not really fit enough to start? We're going to see Mosquera playing out there. So, a lot of questions to be answered for tomorrow's game um, in the second leg against Bayer Leverkusen. But, yeah, Saka survived the whole game. Shooting was poor. 2 key passes that bad. Excuse me. 1 of 5 accurate crosses. See the accurate passes 79, 78 in opposition, 83 in own half. Long ball. 4 shots he tried. 1 was on target. 2 shots blocked. 3 unsuccessful touches. Lose the ball 20 times. Was fouled twice. 1 of 3 dribbles. 17 carries. 2 progressive carry. 3 contributions on defense. 1 tackle, 1 interception, 1 clearance, 4 recoveries, 4 of 9 ground duels, 2 fouls, as well as concede, as well as being fouled twice. And Noni Skull said he was better than Saka on the day. The ratings say so as well. Not by a lot, but yes, he is better. He's in the green there. 2 key passes as well for him. 81%, 80%, 100 in one half. Let's see. 2 shots, 1 on target, 1 blocked. 32 touches, 2 unsuccessful, lose the ball 9 times. So yeah, Madueke played a lot less time than Saka, got a lot less touches. And really, it wasn't was it a lot? Yeah, well, 61st minute is a good chunk. So, Noni, I thought Rice and Zubimendi had some of the better games than what they've recently been having, especially in the second half. And that goes for everybody. I think the first half was a struggle for us. I don't think we kind of coped well enough with what Everton was doing. And, if it wasn't for some heroics around the back between the goalkeepers and the defenders, definitely Arsenal would have went down in this game. But luckily, due to the work, that didn't happen. And when this game was finished, Arsenal had a 10-point lead. Having played one more game than Man City, their chasers. So it was a good feeling that day watching the rest of the football. Now this game against Newcastle and Chelsea, this was the one that kind of had to get sacrificed this week because obviously Arsenal was playing the same time. Now this was a fairly even game. I thought Chelsea probably had more of the possession, which they did. 2 big chances to 1. They outshot Newcastle 22-7. And when you look at it, though, the shots on target from 7 total, 5 on target for Newcastle, only 3 on target for Chelsea. So that is a big, big problem there. You see the saves 4-3. 1 more save made by Sanchez, who I think was back in goal this week. 8 corners to 1 in favor of Chelsea. You see the passes pretty much doubling up. Pretty much doubling up Newcastle in the game. Both teams had 2 yellows. Can't get over that. 5 shots on target and 7 shots. Both teams hit the woodwork once. Big chance scored, none missed. So the one goal in the game was a big chance, and really it came out of nothing. Chelsea was all over them, and then one little mistake in midfield, a good early pass through the lines to Willock, who was onside, and unselfishly slotted it to the left, and Gordon could just tap it home. It was kind of a scuff finish, but it didn't really matter. There was nobody in the goal. Final third entry is really close again, 55 to 54. Um, so yeah, this game was a tough game, definitely. Newcastle getting the better of them on this day. Um, but it was a super physical game between the two. And they are two of the more physical teams in the league, and it was a lot of that going on in this one. See the couple of yellow cards flying around from the referee. But Chelsea just not able to put some positive results together lately. They've just been up and down with it. And Newcastle just caught them out on the day. You see Chelsea before the last week when they lost, they hadn't lost under this manager in the Prem. Um, and this one definitely is going to hurt because I don't believe that Chelsea, did enough to say, yeah, you're supposed to win this game. No, you could argue they should have drew the game, but yeah, I don't think that that result would have helped Chelsea. I guess it would be better than losing, but hot 1-0 Bob Marley they got, man. And for the first in a long while, Joe Pedro never scored. Cole Palmer had a pretty high rating in the game. He did create a big chance. But yeah, Joe Pedro not getting on the score sheet was a rarity. And we have heard news, Chelsea fans, that since this game, Reece James is gonna be out after picking up a knock. So definitely not the best week for the Chelsea fans getting that news, and also getting this hot Bob Marley from Newcastle. But they're not out of the running, and of course, we're gonna bring up the league table once we get through the games, just to show you what's going on. I think you're getting a preview right here on screen, but maybe you're not paying attention to it. So 71% ball possession. Wow. For Man City over West Ham United. I see the XG at 2.03 to only 0.54. But both teams only had one big chance. But look at the shots, 24 to 1. Jeez and peas. Look at that momentum. All Manchester City. And they held out. 15 corners they took. 24 shots to 1. Shots on target 6 to 1. It would work. 7 off target, 7 blocked, 19 inside box, 5 outside box. Wow. One big chance created by West Ham. It was scored. That was Mavropanos from a corner. And they did miss one big chance. Yeah, Gay should have done better at the end for sure. Semenyo had a decent chance, left-footed. Yep, wide of the post. Was a kind of unlucky, to be honest. Haaland, Shirky, Kusanov with a decent half chance. Haaland put that well wide. Nico. Should have scored that too. Man City tried everything to get that winner, but couldn't get it over the line. It had to be a gunner getting the goal, eh? And Bernardo, did you mean that goal? I don't think you did. I think you're crossing. What you guys think? Bless up, Jagans. Hope all is well with you, my G, and the family. Yeah, man, let them know if you smash up the likes and don't be like, least they can do, right? But yeah, yo, massive respect to West Ham and Nuno. Nuno right the ship. West Ham is not no walkover match right now. So, all these fans that were looking at fixtures and saying, yeah, man, West Ham, that's a three. Just rethink that, Zine. I'm telling you, they might play some good football. They made some decent signings that added value to them, and Nuno is no stranger to this type of time of the season when you're in these situations. So I think they'll lean on that experience for sure. But I have to give West Ham the credit and I have to beat Man City because Man City had more than enough chances to get that second goal and they just could not get the job done, But Hermanson was made to work for sure and put in a lot of work. 5 saves. Goals prevented. I could say 86 to 32 entries. My word. 0.86. That's one of the highest I've seen. 2 big save. Man City. But we know them have a potential, return leg comeback to play. I think that game is gonna be. Is that game tomorrow? Yeah, that game is tomorrow. So we'll play same time as them again. Oh, star. Well, I'll be watching Arsenal. You know this. Good thing is they can watch the game after them done. I really want to see the second leg of that Madrid City game. They still, So let's see, what I'll be looking at for City. Who them man who start now that game, man. Nunes, Kusanov, Gay, 8 North. So him rest off Diaz. I know I'm gonna play him probably 2 games in a row, 8 North came off kind of early. And I could have just been tactical because Doku came on and pushed forward and O'Reilly dropped back. But O'Reilly is the one that played today. So will he play O'Reilly this game 90 minutes, Real Madrid, and then also Cup final? I'm not sure. Marmoush came off with the first subs. So it looked like that rotation, he might be trying to find the right amount of minutes to play all of them in all the games that have coming up. Then Semenyo came off, which was surprising. I think that had an eye definitely on, things to come. But to be fair, Pep might have looked at SofaScore and said, this guy is not, him just don't have it today. Him not playing how him normally play. But he did just have that one shot that missed, but should have done better. And normally would have at least put it on target. But it just wasn't his day. And yeah, I think, I think the balance of the players might be a little off for Pep here because, it's almost like you have 3 forwards playing. But the way how the system was set up is like one of those 3 really need to have some coverage for the midfield as well. And I don't think it was clear because, Silva, Rodri, and O'Reilly end up doing most of the work in midfield when I think it was meant to be more what's on the screen with Semenyo being that one to kind of help to form that midfield. But yeah, I think that was a issue at times on the counter for them. But yeah, they did everything except for score the second goal. I mean, they definitely put on enough pressure to get that goal. but they just couldn't get it in there. Just couldn't get it in. So that's the West Ham Man City game. Big result in the Premier League this weekend. Now, Crystal Palace and Leeds, this one ended 0-0. Dominic Calvert-Lewin missing a penalty like a real crab. And Goodmanson shortly thereafter getting a second yellow to be sent off. And credit to Leeds, in that second half, they were able to hold off Crystal Palace and ensure that they did pick up a point at least on the day. We see the expected goals leaning towards Leeds. Of course, a big chunk of that would be the penalty they would have taken. And that is the big chance that was registered as the only big chance in the game, a penalty kick that Leeds failed to convert. And other than that, it was a 0-0 battle. I think when you look at this, Leeds, once they got the red card, were more than happy to get a point. And I think Crystal Palace have one eye on the return leg that they have to play coming up on Thursday, I believe, because they just never looked like they were, really and truly going for it, right? So they do have the second leg against Lanarka on the 16th, and of course, they would have played them on the 12th, and it would have drew 0-0, but that game was at home for Crystal Palace. This time now they'll have to travel to Cyprus, unfamiliar territory, and try to get the result in the second leg. So I do believe that some of those changes that were made had one eye to that, because Strand Larson, Will Hughes, Canvot, Johnson, all these players coming off could have easily finished off the game. And then, of course, you look at the players who came on. Four of those players, you could argue, Pino now back from injury, Kamada, Mateta now back from injury, Wharton. Four of those players on a day could start, right? So I think they rotated already to start the game from what they could do. And you saw him kind of giving players a certain amount of minutes, knowing that Thursday he'll probably be drawing back for you guys, and then again on the weekend. So I think he's just trying to make sure that he don't burn out the people him. That is Oliver Glasner, that is. And Leeds, even though it looked like Crystal Palace was doing this, that red card definitely took away any chance of them continuing in that same vein. So good game of football, 0-0, but marred by missed chances and a missed penalty. But Leeds will be the happier because they were down to 10 men for the basically the whole second half. Man United 3, Aston Villa 1. The free fall of Villa continues and the rise of United does the same. So this game was really and truly, Man United was just the better team for most of the game. Aston Villa did have their spells where they looked like they could get potentially dangerous, but it was never really sustained. The stats on the day was pretty close possession-wise, and the expected goals as well. And three big chances to three big chances. And the interesting thing about that is, even though the expected goals are so close and the big chances the same, like I swear those three big chances for Aston Villa would have come in all the same period, Manu was a bit more spread out throughout the game in terms of what they were able to do. 16 shots to 9 for Manu, shots on target at 6-2. So only 2 shots on target all game for Villa. You see the passing not too far apart there. The yellow cards 3-2. So both teams getting some yellows throughout the game. All right, shots off target. Big chances scored 1, big chances missed 2 for Manu, and the same goes for Aston Villa as well. The difference is Manu scored 2 other goals beside those big chances missed. You see the touches in the opponent's box, final third entries 56-51, so pretty close there. Manu and Aston Villa. Duels were pretty even, crosses, long passes, even pass in the final third too. One error leading to a goal. They didn't give this guy that error, did they? Oh, that's wicked. Ball ricochet off the man foot, basically. Even though they try to control it still. As for Sesko goal. Yeah, so this is the team stats or the individual stats, I should say. Ross Barkley had the goal, the sole goal for Aston Villa. I couldn't believe that oh people, I can't believe I forgot to talk about this. Kai Havertz got fouled in the Arsenal game. I don't know how that popped in my head. Maybe because Ross Barkley goal was a bit contentious as far as I'm concerned. Onana looked a bit offside, and I don't know how he was deemed not to be interfering when he had to bend up himself to not touch the ball. But either way, the goal stood. It was 1-1, but it was really not 1-1 for very long because about 7 minutes later, after Leon Bailey had lost the ball up the pitch, didn't for my liking didn't get back fast enough. Bruno Fernandes in acres of space on that left side, and Cunha just timed his run to perfection. And of course, Bruno is gonna find that pass to make the difference. So that wasn't that was his second of the game after supplying the corner to Casemiro again to make it 1-1. Then I talked about one love, and I talked about Barkley making it 1-1. Then Cunha 2-1, and then later Benjamin Sesko after a bit of a mix-up around the back, or a bit. I think a bad first touch mixed with like being caught by surprise. The ball came right back to him. But no mistake made by Sesko. Didn't even really look at the goal. Just kind of pivoted and just spun and took a volley. And it actually went in off of, don't know who, but it went in off of some players. But I believe that Sesko still has the goal. They didn't take away the man goal. Good. That wouldn't be fair. So people, let's do this. Let's do this. So we're gonna compare Sesko with hold on there. Why I can't, I don't get it. So I can't search. Let me try something else. So only have suggested I can't understand. Okay, here we go. All right, boom. So let's take a look at the ball of them. See what I go on. Premier League. All right, so Seska have the age, have the height. Overall, Sesko have a higher sofa score rating for the season. So the heat map pretty similar. Can see Yoker is probably playing more, have a few more touches all over. But overall it looks very similar. Yokeres has more minutes per game and he has played a lot more games. Played 4 more matches total. He has 2 more goals than Sesko, so Sesko definitely scoring at a better rate. Based on the minutes he's played. See the goals per game are even, shots off target a little higher, shots on target higher for Sesko as well. As per match or probably per appearance, they will have 11 missed chances for Sesko, 8 missed chances for Gyökeres, 1 assist for Sesko, none for Gyökeres. But look at the expected assists. So he set up quite a few. He has 3 big chances created. Sesko don't create none, but he have an assist. So life can be funny that way sometimes. Crosses, none. Defending. And draw a lot of fouls. 4 yellows. Sesko. Seska and Gyökeres comparisons, people. It's an interesting one. I think both of them have been alright, to be honest. Donnarumma and Haaland stinker. I'm definitely not excited. If I don't see Shirky starting tomorrow, I prefer not to speak. Giving points to West Ham and Nottingham Forest just for Liverpool to concede late to Spurs anyway. Don't. Chelsea, Tottenham, City, Sporting, and Atalanta. It's not looking good. Yeah. We need to just pick who are going to get through, before we leave. Will Bruno break the assist record? I believe so, Chile. I think him gone 16 now. Him have what? 8 more games to play. I mean, he could just finish on 20, but when him play a game and get 2 assists, it make you wonder, like, all right, how much this guy really going to get? Big up Eras, the boss. Mama, Maybach music. Look, love how man you get them rhythm and hype. My hype, man. Bing bang bang. Big up to the subs to the moderator himself, Eras the boss. That next season we will be there. What weekend for the U20 boys? Gio Taylor just drop a hat trick for Arnett. Yeah, man, Rob. I actually see it. See it, man. I didn't watch the second half as intently because I start the show, but watch the first half still. One Arsenal, you see it, never few. Sesko getting more assists by Bruno and team are allowing Manu time on the ball. Red Skull looking into the deeper metrics of how the opposition play against Manu. It's a fair point. They don't get any low blocks. Honestly, never wanted City to drop out against Real Madrid in Champions League, but definitely doesn't want them win tomorrow. Yeah, it's like, I mean, at this point, I think Man City plays a little bit less players than Arsenal in the rotation, especially on the back line. I don't think they have the ability to rest them center back or rest them right or left back, or if it's a big game, they're just going to play the man them who them are play. So I think being in more competitions probably hurts them more than us. But then again, Timber is down, before you know it, maybe another man go down. So who knows? But right now, I think we do have a little bit deeper, at least defensive options. I know up front they're stacked. They have a lot of different ways they can, change the game, but it is what it is. Need them better, just break them confidence in finals. Who playing low block versus Arsenal? Tapping eyes, Rob Smith. A low block Everton just play. And when them get the ball, them counter attack effectively. Ask David Moyes, he will tell you. All right, let me go back to where we were. All right, so which game we got to, people? We just talked about Palace Leeds. We talked about Man United. As far as Fulham game, this one ended 0-0. Really and truly not the greatest quality game, if we're being honest. Both teams had one big chance apiece. The expected goals were very close. I think if one team got the result, maybe the other team would feel kind of aggrieved. And I did get a goal, but it was disallowed. But other than that, a lot of good tries in this game. A lot of the when you see the highlights of this game, there was enough goal mouth action for something to happen, but nothing really and truly was, I don't know, man. This game was one that was a very, very tight one, really and truly. And it wasn't that much goal mouth action. I mean, Basti had a decent chance for sure with his head from a set piece. Probably should have done better. And King as well, from a corner, should have done better. And then when you're looking at Nottingham Forest shots now, Elliot Anderson going wide, Jesus, and you have Aina hit the crossbar, I think. Yeah, that would have been a wicked goal. Awani definitely should have done better with this. Don't know what really happened, put it wide there. But that was probably the clearest chance of the game. That late one that fell to Awani. So, but both teams huffed and puffed and couldn't get the job done. Only 3 shots on target total for the entire game. So yeah, that just goes to show it wasn't enough quality in the final third. 60 and 53 final third entries. So definitely had enough chances to make something happen in the final third, but nothing really panned out for either team. And this one just ended in a 0-0 draw. Now moving right on, people, Liverpool had the 1-0 lead up until the 90th minute after Soboslai scored, I think, his 5th free kick goal for the season. Richarlison, old dirty Richarlison. We just saw a team come out for a couple of friendlies for Brazil, France, and Croatia, I believe, in this window. And Richarlison wasn't there. But he did score a goal for Tottenham on this day, and it earned them 1 point, which in their relegation fight could prove to be a big one towards the end. 2 big chances created by Tottenham, just one for Liverpool, even though the XG was higher for Liverpool at 1.7, 17 to 13 in terms of shots. 6 saves had to be made by Alisson, 3 saves made by Vicario. See the corners, the fouls, you see the passes, shots on target 7-4 in favor of Spurs. Interestingly enough, there, one time did they hit the woodwork, that is Liverpool. And then you see one big chance scored, one missed for Tottenham, and just one big chance missed for Liverpool. Liverpool, 64 entries, 46 entries for Tottenham. And that's final third entries, of course. You see the goals prevented both keepers into the positive, which is good. But it was an error that led to the goal for Liverpool for Tottenham in the 90th minute. I think they may have given it to Andy Robertson. It was his header that was a bit weak. Yeah, they did give it to him. Van Dijk could never catch up with the play quite enough. I think it was Colomwani who had come on for Matisse Tell, and he's the one that kind of got that second ball after it has to be said, poor clearing header by Robertson, and good work by him to just lay it after Richarlison, not panic. Richarlison slapped it in to a somewhat empty goal because the goalkeeper was kind of on the other side of the goal, but that proved to be a big goal for Spurs because it was enough to earn them a point. So Igor Tudor finally had a game in charge where he didn't lose the game. When you look at the lineups in the game yesterday, it's like a whole football team out for Spurs. Look at that, man. Gallagher, Osuma, Joao Paulinho, Christian Romero, Rodrigo Betancourt, Mohamed Kudus. I think Jedspeth was doubtful but still played. Mickey Van de Ven suspended. Destiny Odogi not fit enough to even make the bench. Doubtful. Wilson Odebear out. James Madison out. Lucas Berval out. Dejan Kulusevski out. And Ben Davies out. So coach made 4 subs and only had 1 more outfield player left and 2 goalkeepers. So the squad is pretty light for sure. Yeah, so this one ended 1-1, and that was not the result that Liverpool fans wanted to see, with the top 4 race, 5 race heating up now. The last game was played today, the Monday Night Football over in England. That was Brentford and Wolves. And when Igor Thiago scored in the 37th minute to make it 2-0, it looked like it was going to be smooth sailing for Brentford. But boy, football has a cruel way of changing. And kudos to Wolves because they really, from that point on, were the better team. They were able to salvage a draw after goals from Adam Armstrong in the first half, late, and then Tolu off the bench came in to get the equalizing goal after a good setup by Joao Gomez. And in the end, that was what this one ended at 2-2. So let's just take a look at the stats real quick. I did watch most of this game today. I thought Brentford, like I said, was real comfortable in the first half for the most part. 4 big chances in that first half, none for Wolves, and then Wolves came alive in the second with 3 big chances to the only one for Brentford. You see, in the second half, they had a much better XG. First half, they just had a higher XG, did Brentford, but the game was not as the game was pretty close when you look at some metrics make the game look really closer than others, is what I should say. But I just think it was a tale of two different halves. The first half was, pretty much all Brentford. They looked like the most likely team to score goals. And then once they got that belief from the Armstrong goal before halftime, I think they came out in that second half and did really, really well. Much better than they did in the first, at least. 4 shots on target or 3 in favor of Wolves, and they had 3 more shots overall. Both teams hit the woodwork. 2 times Wolves hit the woodwork, and 1 time Brentford hit the woodwork. So that's an interesting one there. You see the big chances scored 2, and then 3 of the big chances missed by the home team, and that really would prove costly. 3 big chances total for 3 big chances total for Wolves, but they only converted 1, and missed 2 of them. Final third entries dead even at 50 apiece. So Wolves definitely good value for their money attacking wise. So that's pretty much it for the statistics overall. Let's just take a look at the lineups real quick. Atara had the best performance, ended up with an 8.5 with an assist. Damsgaard had to come off injured. Reece Nelson had a decent chance late, but couldn't convert it. Kind of hit off his shoulder, really. That would have endeared him to the fans, but he wasn't able to convert that one. But yeah, Dango, really good game. Also, Sepp Vandenberg and Coyote scoring a nice header as well from a Lewis Potter cross. So Brentford definitely did not need this to be a draw if they wanted to get back into that serious European hunt. It definitely can't be dropping points at home to the 20th place team in the Premier League. So not the best result for Brentford. Thiago was happy though, because he was named in the Brazil squad for these games coming up. So good luck to Igor Thiago. I think he deserves it based on how he's been playing this season. So, people, we've been on SofaScore all night because we like to look at the stats on that side. But when it comes to the Premier League table, I like to use this one instead. So let me get on the screen for you guys. Let me get the table up. Hold on a second. So once I show you guys the real EPL table, then I will reveal the winners and the losers of the predictions this week on Jason Gooner TV. All right, so let me get the table up and going here. All right, so we have Wolves after the results this weekend still in the cellar. They're on 17 points now, 12 points from a safety spot. So it's looking really bleak right now. Burnley, 9-point gap from them on safety. They are on 20 points. Note though that Wolves have played 1 more game than everyone in the league except for Arsenal. Nottingham Forest and West Ham battling it out still. West Ham in 18th just due to the goal difference, minus 19 on the season. That 1-1 draw could prove to be crucial by the time the end of the season rolls around. Nottingham Forest on 29 as well, minus 15 points. Spurs, that draw could also be crucial for them. They're off of that 29-point logjam, and they are now on minus 7 and in 16th position on 30 points. Leeds United with a draw as well, inching away from that relegation zone. They are on 32 points, and until they get a bit away from that number, they will not like the fact that a loss coupled with the right set of results means that any 2, if not 3, of the teams could leapfrog them in 1 week, and they'll be there. But of course, they know that Tottenham playing Forest coming up next weekend, or this weekend, sorry. That means that Leeds don't have to worry about one of those 2 teams, and probably wouldn't mind even if that match was a draw. So let's see how that plays out. So really and truly, the fight for relegation It's looking like it's panning out from 15th position right now, Leeds, 16 Tottenham, 17 Forest, and 18 West Ham. I think those four teams will really be the ones battling it out to see who can finish outside of that dreaded 18th position. Then we move into a little bit of a gap until we get to number 14 in terms of the points. And 14th position is Crystal Palace on 39 points. In 13th is Sunderland on 40 points. 12th, Brighton on 40 points as well, but a better goal difference to Sunderland. Fulham on 41, as well as Bournemouth. Fulham with a -3, Bournemouth with a -2. That's why Bournemouth is in 10th position and Fulham in 11th right now. Ninth spot right now is Newcastle after 2 wins on the bounce. They're on 42 points. Still have an outside shot to get there into the top echelons of European competition, but they'll have to go on a run much more than those 2 wins. Everton, 43 points in 8th position. They are definitely shouldn't hang their heads too much about that 2-0 loss to Arsenal. I think they gave them all they could have asked for in that game. And if Everton continue to play how they played the majority of that Arsenal game, I believe Everton could be in with a shout for sure for the Conference or Europa, and an outside chance as well to get into the European places. They have a chance to put a dent into that if they can stop Chelsea this coming weekend. That proves to be a big, big matchup there. Brentford on 45 points after the draw today. They are in 7th position, but did not do their Champions League credentials much use with that draw. Then Chelsea in 6th, just talked about them playing Everton this weekend. They're on 48 points. Now, for the first time in a while, out of the top 5, Liverpool is rounding out the top 5 now on 49 points. They would have much rather been on 51 now, and as you can see, their goal difference is better than Villa. So if they had pulled out that win, they would have jumped right up to 4th position. Currently in 5th, though, 4th would be Aston Villa. 3 losses on the bunch. If they have any more of those, I'm pretty sure that the team that was 3rd, and a few weeks back, people were saying maybe they have an outside chance at a run at the title if they can have another run like they did in the season so far this year. They are looking like they need to just stop the bleeding if they want to actually finish in the top 5. We saw last year where they were in and around Champions League for most of the year, and in the last few weeks or so, they pretty much dropped out of the race or dropped down and fell short of the Champions League places. Is that something that's going to happen with them this year? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But the 3 losses in a row do not look good. Manchester United, 54 points now. It's been quite a resurgence under Michael Carrick. They are all the way up to 3rd. Yes, I said it. 3rd position, plus 13 goal difference as well. So Carrick definitely turning things around. Man City, 61 points. They are 9 points off league leaders Arsenal, but they do have that match in hand. The gap will stay at 9 until we return after the international window and after the FA Cup weekend. I think it's the weekend of March the 10th and 11th. Those are the days when the EPL will come back into full swing for at least for Arsenal and Manchester City, who obviously have the EFL Cup final to play this weekend. And Arsenal, of course, plus 39 goal difference now, 70 points, 9 points clear. They currently are on a 4-win on the bounce form, which we love to see. All right. So that's it for the table for the week. Now, let us get to the next order of business, which is getting on the screen. Oh, I didn't add it yet. Getting on the screen the results for the week for the prediction table. You guys do the right thing right now and smash up that like button while we get prepared to reveal the winners of the donkey of the week. All right, let me put this to full screen. Well, I guess that's not a winner, the donkey of the week still. Eras at David laugh. When Vardy forward back, the depth will look better because he played both LB and CB. That is true. I mean, right now, Vardy being out is a huge gap because I take up 2 slots. Arsenal should sign another CB for me. Skelly is midfielder, I was short a CB and right back. Ben White injury prone. Yeah, I do think we're gonna go into the market for a right back this summer. Um, and I think we might actually see a summer where we make some sales. For once, I think. But let's see. Let's see. Arteta no need to add more players to the squad, says Red Skull. Slat is such an idiot. I knew we weren't winning that. Our attack need complete rebuild, says Red Skull. Spurs player, but Slat should be sacked. Smith must be watching Barca highlights. Yeah. No, let me tell you, Eras. Conrad, there's somewhere where Reggae Boys talk happening because we the squad is being announced on Friday, Eras. So like, most of the, well, I won't say most, but Conrad for sure. I'm sure he might listen to them argument then say one boss in the comment. But you might see him roll in before the show done and drop a one barsa. But it's sweet because Man U have player Chelsea and Liverpool, so the fixture is gonna be nice. Yeah, all of them have to play them one another, so it's gonna be tough. Slat should be sacked for failure of beating Spurs, but I say it already. This is one of the hardest leagues. Hope Spurs relegated, but I think they would probably have some players back to save them. This Slat guy. Emery turned out to be a fraud. Yo, one thing Scully, always did I say Emery not good. Man, I do the same thing he done at Arsenal. I was telling somebody this, I was saying, listen, when it comes to like one-off games, I think he's a tactical genius. Like he can come up with a game plan for a one game for sure. But every league that he's ever played, for every team, he have these stretches in the season where he can't get results. And it always lasts a little bit longer than you think it should have last. I would say that about him. Yeah, one Barca. That's what he's gonna come say. One Barca. No matter what I'm talking about, he's just gonna put one Barca. Can't believe him make Man U win and spoil the weekend. Well, that's it going on. Yeah, man, but Emery have him deficiencies, bro. And we know that. We Arsenal fans know that. Most of us. But you can't tell a non-Arsenal fan that and just look and say, but look how much trophies he's won and look at what he does with clubs that maybe aren't as good. And I think that's his main problem. Like you can give him a team like Villa and he'll overachieve. But the Villa start to, look like they're going to be Champions League or look like they're going to do something in the league, boom, they start to do foolishness. And I can't put the whole Villa thing on him. But at the same time, I kind of can because he's had squads with better players and he's decided to change the tactics and get rid of players that he had. And all kind of madness he's done. Like Villa has been reinvented so many times under this coach. Because him one day wake up and decide him don't want to play no wingers. That would be great. That would be great. Slat out. So the resident yard man for Liverpool. You have to say Harney. Out. Yes, people. All right. So understand, ready for the reveal of the picks? All right. So let's get the pick reveal out. So we're gonna do the champion for the week first, right? So we're now gonna highlight the donkey first. We're gonna highlight the champion for the week as the first thing. All right. So let's get on the screen now, people. The champion for the week. Drum roll, please. Champion for the week is Duckland. I can't believe it. Lightning keeps striking in these games. But Duckland, again, congratulations. Another title for the season. And his tally is getting up there, people, for the amount. So he might win the overall trophy. Of course, once the season is over, we'll have the big bad season-long review show. And we will reveal the person who won the league title the most, and also the person who got the most donkey of the week. And trust me, I am doing terribly in that second part I just said. And I was very, very thankful that these two gentlemen played this week. But let's give respect to the people who tied for second as well, Jagarns and D-Fly. D-Fly are a new member, well, not member, but a new subscriber to the channel. Just found the channel from a friend, he told me. And, big shout out to D-Fly for one of the few that when they first come actually jump right into the picks. So D-Fly gave his picks for the week and did pretty well. Came in tied for second. It was a tough week, as I said before, people. A lot of close games and a lot of mismatched picks by people. But it looks like when the bulk of the crowd went draw, the game ended in a win or a loss for one team. And when the opposite happened, most people went for a result in the game other than a draw. So a lot of bad scores. But Duckland basically was able to get 6 correct in terms of the overall result and did get 1 perfect score, and that was the Brentford and Wolves 2-2. Jagarns ended up at 4 and 6. His perfect score was the Arsenal game at 2-0, and D-Fly also 4 and 6 with his perfect score being the Arsenal 2-0 game. All right, so that is the champions for the week, people. Now, the donkey of the week, and there were 2 wonderful candidates this week, and they were the ones ending up with it. And I'm sad to say that Demo and Float Management were the donkeys of the week for week 30. Big ups to both of them, my brethren, but trust me, we have seen finer selections from the both of you before. 1 and 9 on the week, and Demo, the only result he got correct was the Gunners. Did not say 2-0, he said the 3-0. If he had said 2-0, I would have saved him a place on this donkey of the week list. But Float Management also was only able to correctly predict an Arsenal win. His scoreline was 2-1. So yeah, sad to say the biggest hee-haw has to go to you two this week, Demo and Float Management. So big ups to each and every one of you that played this week. At least you did not end up on the donkey of the week table. And I know all of us who didn't end up with the trophy this week, like Duckland, are kind of disappointed. But that's the thing we love about the EPL. It's going to be another chance in about 3-4 days to put your picks in and get it right. This week is going to be a bit tricky for the content. I must be honest. I have some Reggae Boys content I'd like to get in before the window of the 26th. Well, the games on the 26th and the 23rd and the 31st. We got news today that the Reggae Boys squad will be announced on Friday. As far as I know, the upcoming EPL week, there's no Friday game. So that would mean that the preview show should probably take place. Actually, no. There is a Friday game, which is actually perfect. So Bournemouth plays Man U on Friday the 20th, which is wonderful news, because then I'll have to bring the preview show Thursday night, which leaves Friday night completely open for a reaction show. So perfect, people. So listen, all my EPL preview review fans, will be doing the preview show for the EPL this week on Thursday night, right? And then we'll be back on the Sunday night to bring you the review show. And that's perfect because all you Reggae Boys fans out there, I will be doing a full squad reaction Friday night. I'll open up phone lines. That's not something we normally do, but we do want to hear feedback from the fan base that night, see how they feel about it. We'll give our grades and everything. And we'll get to see the first ever international squad picked by Rudolph Speed. So I'm sure that many people will have something to say about this squad when it is out. So that is the plan for the week. People will also have Thursday night, second leg of the Mount Pleasant and LA Galaxy. That will be, I think, about 7. So we can do that first. And then once that's done, we will run the preview show that night. So yeah, man, that is how it's going to run for the week, people. So we look forward to that. I joke this. Good thing FPL my thing there, boy. May I tell you. May I tell you. Yeah, man, Float and Demo were here. He said I had to be donkey this week. Red Skull need the victory tomorrow and Sunday a must. That is it. Yeah, man. It had to be you, Float. It was a rough week, bro. Big up, coach. What go on with there, you know? Yeah, man. You're going good, Jaggers. You're going good. Next week, a new week. That is it. That's the spirit. I almost went for a gun as Everton draw. Good thing you never do it, Float. Pep said, Roman Tada, is he smoking bush? Hey, I must say that, you know. Man think it's Kinski in goal. Best keeper in the world. Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. Forget Reggae Boys wasting that EPL and UCL we're dealing with. Hey, no worry, man. I gotta deal with them same way, man, because I'm a team. I'm a team. I'm a team. Them piss me off wholly, but I'm a team. People, I'm not telling a lie. My offer run. Oh, you go on, Coach Edwards, you were 2-8. Just good enough to not be donkey of the week, but don't feel no way. Everybody was 2-8, my brother. It was a rough week for the picks, trust me. Yeah, man, I'm buying my jersey. Actually, I'm not get my new jersey yet, you know. I need to get my jersey star. I don't know where I wait for. I need to get the new one. Anyway, people, I got to run and go deal with something. So big up on yourselves. Thanks so much for the support. Come on, you gooners. I hold a title now. We can't buckle this, you mad. Big up.